This is the real spiel. Hey, I agree with Kathryn. I want you to say that. I agree with Kathryn. I'm going to post Kathryn's article in my community page, but Kathryn Wiley is right. Kathryn Wiley is an assistant professor at Howard University. She is a white woman. She is a white woman. Let's be clear. She is a white woman, an assistant professor at Howard University, and Kathryn Wiley says that white kids need Black history. LMS, thanks for the topic, but listen, let me talk to you. Let's talk about the difference between our history and our future. Okay? I think this distance is fine. I don't want to hurt my back. Man, I sprained my back a few weeks ago. Can't get this thing out. Messing around, doing a video with my kids, did a death drop on the bed. Clack, 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 clack. Old people shouldn't be fooling around trying to make TikTok videos. By the way, it's Breakfast with Del, Adi Al-Katani, the Spice Man, my brother from Islam. Bless you, everybody, all of the individuals who are here. Earth, Wind, Fire, Spirit, the Cyclopses, Yvonne Gentle is like, Yvonne's like, you got to feed us today. You're hungry, you're starving us today. Well, I'm here. I'm here, and I'm here to have a great conversation with you. I know it's some of y'all are coming. Miss Ann, Muriel, I never say your name. I should be saying your name more. Muriel, how are you? Thank you very much. Black Panther X. Who else are some of the brothers and sisters who come on here all the time? Just want to big you up, talk about you. And I always forget to put this thing on. What do I do all the time? I forget to put it on Do Not Disturb. Good morning, Yvonne Holmes. I'll be right back. And I'm back. I do that all the time. It's like a commercial scenario. It's a lie. I just forget. Listen, I'm out here in Maryland, about to make a little trip further on to the great state of Delaware, to visit everybody over there in Delaware. Elaine Jones, God bless you. To my cousin, I call her my sister cousin. She's like my older sister. I'm gonna see if I can move this thing a little closer so I can lean back. Beverly Burton, happy birthday. Okay, we call her the Purple Poncho. I gotta say that story real quick because I said my cousins I was gonna say it, but I'm gonna say it here so they come back to the actual video. I grew up, before I get to Kathryn Wiley said it right. White kids need Black history. But I want to talk about my cousin real quick, Beverly Brereton, the Purple Poncho. When I was young, in Mississauga, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and this is 1974. In 1974, I was in kindergarten, and my three older cousins, Beverly, Donna, and Althea, used to walk me to school, and we went to the same elementary school. I'll say the story real fast. And so every day, as these three young girls, elementary school girls, are walking me to school, Beverly being the oldest of us, this little white French Canadian boy would stop us on the way to school. He wore a long green toque, and he stopped us every day on the way to school. He had his little brother, and he says, "You cannot pass here unless you fight me or he fights my little brother." So his little brother was my age, probably a little bit older than me, maybe a year older than me. But he's a small white kid. I was a small little Black kid. I was in junior kindergarten or kindergarten at the time. And first time it happened, I had to drop my bag, and I had to fight this little white kid in order for me to pass, in order for us to pass. He wouldn't let us pass. So I wore that little white French Canadian kid out. I wore him out. And then we passed. And every day, I guess he would train his little brother. He'd come back and he'd say, "You're going to fight my little brother again or you're not going to pass." So I got good with my hands from 4 years old, little white kid and his little white Canadian brother. They used to stop us every day to go to school. 3 girls and a little boy, right? My girl cousins were taller than me because they're older than me. I'm the oldest boy. Well, I was until they found another love child somewhere, but I was the oldest boy. And that I had to fight this kid every day. And every day he got a whooping every single day, stepped over him and went to school. One day that little French Canadian white kid got tired of me whooping his little brother. And he saw my sister cousin Beverly, somewhere in the school, and he picked a fight with her. So I'm waiting to go home. We only had half day in school at that time. They only did half day for junior kindergarten kids. They used to come pick me up from junior kindergarten and then walk me back home because I didn't really know my way. Now, they didn't show up. And so I started to wander away from the door, trying to find my way, which way I'm going to go. And I see this big crowd of kids, big circle of kids. And I saw the little French Canadian boys with the green toque. I saw him there, and he's squaring up and he's fighting somebody. So I don't know what's going on, and I pushed through the crowd. And my cousin Beverly, she wore a purple poncho. It was very distinct. You couldn't miss it. She wore this purple hooded poncho all the time. And all I'm seeing from the back, I'm seeing the purple poncho from the back, and I'm seeing this white Canadian kid from the front with his hands fighting. And my cousin is crying. She's crying. But she's wearing him out like Sugar Ray, wearing him out. Pop, 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 pop. Not a lick he landed on her. She's ducking and moving like Sugar Ray. And my uncle, her daddy, used to make us watch Muhammad Ali and Sugar Ray Leonard, force all of the kids to sit down with the one TV, Howard Cosell, Sugar Ray Leonard, or Howard Cosell, and Muhammad Ali. And she was Sugar Ray Leonard's weight. And she is wearing this kid out, and all you see is the poncho going back and forth, and she's crying, showing shots like Sugar Ray Leonard. The little white boy doesn't know what hit him, and we hold her hand, and that's the only time I've ever seen my cousin fight. She's the toughest person in our family. Her father is number 2. I'm number 3, I think. But she is the toughest person in this family, and today's her birthday, June the 9th. Happy birthday to the purple poncho, aka Sugar Ray Brereton, Beverly Brereton. Happy birthday to you, and I'm going to share this in our cousin group so y'all can see it. All right, thank you very much for listening to that story, and blessings to everybody who is here. I see you, Miss Ann. I see you, Elaine. Sorry for my bad eyes. Sometimes I gotta zone in and see it. But listen, let me talk about this LMS stand-up. Listen. What we have here in America currently, and I have a biblical reference for this too, and you know I do. I'm going to Isaiah 61. That's my mother's birthday too. Oh, happy birthday, Mom. Happy birthday to your mother. We wish her all the best. Earth strong. God ordained her to be here in this season, this time, Miss Ann. And I don't know if she's still here, but God ordained her to be remembered. Because that birthday, the memorial of our ancestors, should never go away. So this Howard professor, as I relate to her, and this wasn't actually what I was going to talk about. I was simply going to talk about the difference between the Black historical experience and what our future should look like. And I found this article to capture the emotion and the thought spoken out of the mouth of a white woman, preaching out of or speaking out of the perspective of white people from a position where she grew up in a way understanding the critical power of race in respect to her environment. And congratulations and much kudos to Miss Kathryn, Professor Kathryn Wiley, the assistant professor at Howard University. She wrote this article in April of 2023. So it's a very present article. It's linked to this particular video. Plus, I'll put it on the community page for you to see so you can hear from her own words. Her perspective was, it was very important to understand the dynamic of race from the basis of, and I'm paraphrasing her thoughts. You can go and see exactly what she's saying. And I think I'm capturing the heart of it. From the dynamic of understanding their specific environment. They didn't, she said growing up, she didn't really understand redlining. She didn't understand why there was so few Black children in her school. She didn't understand the political environment that she was being raised in. And she feels very strongly, as do I, that it is extremely important. I was told that some people said I talk too low, so I'm going to try to raise up my volume. She felt it was incredibly important for white children to understand, for the basis of building a better future, understanding how important it is to have a clear picture of the Black historical American nuances and phenomenon that shapes America. One of the greatest, and hello Afro-Asiatic, shalom to you, my brother. Yvonne Gentles, I see you. Bless you. One of the greatest things that people do not understand about America, me included, I must say this, me included, um, bless your mom, Miss Ann, is that the Black American is a unique and distinct people group in the world. This is coming from the insides of an African Caribbean man raised mostly in Canada, educated somewhat in America, experienced America, but now here under the full impressionableness of America. You are a unique people group. You are not simply just another group of Black people. You have a rich, distinct history that changes in every single state. It changes. Language changes in respect to how you speak the English colonized tongue. Culture changes. Food choices change. Body types, meaning there are, and this is something that I think Black people don't truly appreciate. I'm sorry, I just took my shower and I still got a little bit of the juices of joy called water falling from my head. What Black people don't appreciate in America, and this is going to be a big one for you, is the tribalism that exists right now, right in America. And I want you to understand that when I say it like this, when I say salamu at times, it's same greeting as shalom, just Akkadian. Man, I'm glad you're here, bro. Afro-Asiatic 19. Afro-Asiatic 19 is a linguist. I heard that yesterday. I seen that rather yesterday. Thank you very much for that education. Keep it coming. There is a distinct tribalism that you might not realize, you might not see because you folks are here. But there is a distinct tribalism that I have identified in African Americans. And the tribalism is a little bit different. It's not an African tribalism. It's an African American tribalism. And I'll explain it like this. You have particular corridors of cities and states where you have Black people who have lived there for generations. Their grandmother, your grandmother, your great grandmother, they've been there for civilizations. And there has been a very limited movement of that genetic pool of people from that city to other cities. So meaning, and I saw it really strongly in Detroit. This is what I mean. I've seen similar body types, although every girl in Detroit is now getting a BBL. A BBL in Detroit is basically like going to Wendy's or like going to Popeyes, because they're getting BBLs like Popeyes chicken in Detroit. But regardless of that, I've seen facial and body type similarities that are indicative of a genetic, if you will, breeding of a closed genetic pool of people. I am not new to this observation, and I've made these observations in many places in the world. I've made them in Ireland. I've definitely made them in Africa. Okay, I've made them in Central and South America, and have been educated by the indigenous populations there as to some of the differences and what I'm looking at. And so it gave me the lens to be able to sit back and to look even at our people outside of the context of my Trinidadian background, but sitting here saying, I'm seeing similarities in body types, in facial structures, that are not just transient or trifling in nature. I'm seeing similarities, strong similarities. You see these in African countries, very similar things you see in African countries. I saw them in Detroit. And one of the reasons that Detroit is a very great example from that is because Detroit is kind of a big, small city. There's not that many people in Detroit. They say almost everybody knows each other to some extent in Detroit. And the similar body types, similar facial structures were were distinct, and I saw them, and I was like, okay, you have even localized tribalism here, and an African American nuance of tribalism and culture, and it causes us to say it's important to understand the African American in every location or natural habitat, not to make us sound like a National Geographic experiment, but in our natural habitat, we are distinct and unique. And therefore, if people from outside of those cultures have this understanding that, oh, all African Americans are the same, um, they miss the mark greatly. They miss the mark greatly, because as we know, Black people are not monolithic. We are very different in our religions. We are different in our worldview. We are different in our politics. We are different in our languages. Okay? So we are not monolithic people on a global scene. And this is what I'm saying here. We are not monolithic even in the United States of America. Black people are not the same when you go from Detroit to New Orleans, when you go to Florida and to California and Texas and Cincinnati and Chicago. You have different nuances now of what it means to be an African American. You have different things. You have the Chicago experience. Look at Chicago. Chicago understands that they were successful. They were the one successful community that took a politician from grassroots to the White House. The politicians and the social environment of Black people in Chicago can tap themselves on the back and say, we are the only group who was able to take a politician from grassroots to the White House. Their politics are different. Their understanding of politics is different. And so it is important now, when we, within our own cultures, and I'm grafted in, just like many of us are grafted ourselves into the African American experience. I'm grafted in by both education. I'm grafted in by my faith, because my church oversights have been here. I've been a part of the African American culture religiously since I've been in my early days. I've been a part of the African American experience academically since I've been a teenager, and also athletically since I've been a teenager. So I've been grafted into the experience. Many of you have been, you're born here, you're immersed, you are African American. I am not an African American. I have just been grafted into the African American experience. But it is important now, when you look at a woman like Kathryn Wiley, an American white woman teaching in Black HBCU universities, who says, listen, it's very important that us white people train our children, teach our children what it means to be an African American. That scholastic information is important for building a better future. It's very important. And let me say this. White people of antiquity in America understood Black people too, very well. This is a hard thought. White people of antiquity, the founding fathers of this nation, they understood Black people too. They understood what they needed to do to oppress them, to make them servile to them, to make sure they never can rise up and take over their union, to make sure that even in the evolution of social culture, that even Black excellence would not outperform them. They built this country in such a way that the strength of the original colonizer is still predominant today. However, Black people have developed in this country in such a way that the people group of the African American is the strongest Black people group in the world. And when I say strongest, economically, um, potentially athletically, and even politically, those three trifectas are very, very powerful. And so you have, and then culturally, a very strong, strong, strong culture. The hardest thing to do with an African American is not educate you. The hardest thing to do with African American is not kill you. Oh, that's very hard. The hardest thing to do with an African American is to separate you from the cultural experience that you have. Try to take a hood Negro out the hood. Try to untrain a hood chick from being a hood chick and saying, baby, I don't know why you so wrapped up in that. Try, and I'm gonna be playing with you. I'm gonna be playing with you. You think it's easy to go to a woman in certain, I experienced some folks in various areas, but I won't say the cities, but a woman who has habitually been in the sex industry as a stripper, has been renting, leasing her body for the purposes of gaining money, using that money to take care of all of the many children that she has acquired along the paths of life, and to take that concept of transactional mentality out of her mind, that when she sees a man, she sees a transaction, and to change her thought process about how she views men, how she views herself, how she views the world. You think it's easy to take a woman out of that particular mindset and change her and say, yo, don't think like that anymore. You're not that. You're better than that. Oh, it's very hard. It's very difficult to do that. And that's an extreme experience. But what about the nuances of what we see in all communities? It's hard for a leopard to change its spots. The culture of Black people all over the world is a very difficult thing to pull out. I am here in Maryland. I've been to Maryland. I've been to Michigan. I've been to Illinois. I'm going to Delaware in a second. I've been to Ohio. Every single city. When you ask me, are you hungry? What would you like to eat? Do you have a Caribbean restaurant around here? That's the very first thing I say. Do you have a Caribbean restaurant? Where's your local Caribbean restaurant? Because I have a specific palate that I can't get around. I cannot get around what I like to eat. I can't get around even what my body responds to. Can't get around it. I can't eat American food for the most part. I can eat soul food, but I don't like most of these wonderful chains, restaurant chains. I don't like deep fried foods. I don't like a lot of stuff because I'm not an African American in my palate. I'm a difficult person to feed. You'll be like, oh, well, you're not hungry? You doing it? No, I don't eat that. No, I don't drink that. Oh no, I don't. I'm okay with that. That's fine. I don't know. I don't have that. You'd be like, what's wrong with him? He don't like good food? So our culture is distinct in us, and it's very difficult to change. Now, that's just in us. What does the little white kid now have to, when we grow up with this white kid and we're angry at him, we're trying to tell him all these kind of things, and that's the hardest part, right? The hardest person to educate is the hardest people to affect are people who are concerned that you're angry at them, right? We need to stop being angry, and we need to start educating, because this generation is not the generation. Can I be biblical real quick? This is not the generation that came out of Egypt. It's a different generation. Joshua in Joshua chapter 1. That's not the scripture I'm going to refer to, but I'll just refer to it now. Joshua was told by God, get a flint knife and circumcise the children of Israel again in their foreskins. And I thought to myself, my goodness, God, like you double circumcising people now? Woo, Lord, why they got to circumcise again? But the scripture went on and said, no. It's not because God wanted to cut that thing off more. It's because he said the men of war who came out of Egypt, they had been circumcised. And they died in the wilderness because God would not allow them to cross over. But their sons were never circumcised. Now, this is an interesting lesson. How can you be an Israelite walking the wilderness for 40 years? And let's assume some of them are about that age. Let's assume they were conceived in the wilderness in the very beginning. So you have people who potentially could be 40 years old and younger, but no older, who have never been circumcised. And we're living according to the Mosaic law as the people of the circumcision, yet uncircumcised. This is a powerful thing. You have, I'm going to use this in context of white people. You have white people that are walking around today in America, interrelating with Black and Latino, interrelating with critical race theory, interrelating with a post-Obama, post-Trump, current Biden, future unknown lifestyle, coming from either white supremacy or abolitionist white mentalities or somewhere in the middle. Their great-grandfathers, great-grandmothers were either card-carrying racists, were abolitionists, or somewhere in the middle. Their history was either slave owners, their history was white people that didn't own any slaves but took advantage of white privilege, or their history was individuals who've always sympathized with the abolishing of slavery, with the Black experience, but they are still white. All of those people are the uncircumcised, walking in a new world experience, coming from forefathers who came out and came into this country one way. All of them are feeding into or eating from and building the African American experience and the world experience of their lives. They're traveling all over the world. They're on the internet. They're writing books. They're teaching. They're supposedly progressive. Their children date other races. Their children and themselves listen to Black music, and they themselves say celebrate Black holidays. Juneteenth. They revere Muhammad Ali and Michael Jordan and Michael Jackson, Prince, and they have this nuance, to use a terrible word, but they have this incredible cosmopolitan culture of Blackness, whiteness, and everything else that they bring to the table. But they have yet to be circumcised in the true education of what it means to be an African American. They have yet to have the true oppressive mentalities cut away from their mind. They still show up and say, well, you know, I don't really see racism. I don't think America's a racist country. I don't think that it's as bad as you people think it is. I think we have an amazing nation, and I think we're one of the best nations in the world. And they've been indoctrinated into those thinkings and thought process. And is America a great nation? Of course it's a great nation. Does America have very ugly history? Of course it has ugly history. Has America done evil? Some of the worst evil ever done has been done here. Ever. Some of the most horrendous atrocities in human history have taken place under the flag of the Star-Spangled Banner. Absolutely. Has America had made great strides? Yes. All these things are true at the same time. And so it is important. It is important. And to use a phrase, where when a man has a relationship with a woman and he has participated in hurting the relationship, that woman says to him, you need to have accountability. Oh, you're a good man, and yeah, you've done some good things, but you hurt me here, and you hurt me here, and I need you to take accountability for these things. I said, oh, baby, come on, baby, come on. You know I love you, baby. Come on now. You know, I do this for you, and I do that for you. Just, come on. You got to let some things slide. No, she's not telling you that you didn't do good here and you didn't do good there. She's telling you that you've done her harm, and she needs you to take accountability, and accountability is information, education, and recognition in order that you don't do it again. That's why she's asking you to take accountability. She's saying, bro, I can't allow you to sit there and not to recognize how much you've hurt me here. And then even worse, when you move on to another woman and you have the capacity to be transparent and to tell her, listen, in my last relationship, boy, I did some stuff, baby. That girl was a good girl, but I did some stuff. I was really to blame. And she says, really? Well, what are you going to do to change that in the future? What is she asking you? She is asking you, do you have the capacity today, white America, to repeat the errors of your forefathers of yesterday? Or are you circumcised of that fleshly behavior? That's what's going on right now. So let me see what some of y'all are saying. Let me read. David Dawson, internal discouragement, external limitations, and divisive weakness. Break that down for me, brother. Prejudice has become normal. Now, prejudice and racism are not the same thing as that. Not to say that this is what you're saying, Sister Yvonne. Prejudice, everyone has. Everyone has prejudices. I am prejudiced in respect to I love Caribbean food, and y'all can't feed me. Y'all can't put no kind of crazy stuff in grits and feed it to me all the time. I'm gonna taste it up, y'all. You can't wake up and tap me on the shoulder every day and say, Berton, we got some grits again for you. I'd be like, these people just feeding me grits like I'm out here I'm in the plantation. I don't want to eat grits every day. I'm prejudiced like that, right? People have prejudices. They have preferences. They have things that they like. They have things they don't like. They have things that they don't want to see. You ask certain people, would you mind if your daughter or your son married this particular race? And you ask them these questions. They might say, I would prefer, and you'll say, you're a racist. Is it racism or is it prejudice? Right? Racism. Now, that is something that's a very different conversation. Racism is an institution built by individuals who have the capacity to carry out that power and oppression and marginalization on a macro level. Racism is not just an opinion. Racism is not just, I hate blacks. Racism is not just, I hate Jews. That's not racism. That's not racism. Racism is, I hate you, and I'm going to make sure that you do not prosper, that you do not succeed, that you do not progress. I'm going to make sure that your life is small, that you serve me, that you operate under the behest of my say-so. And I will build a community and a world that makes sure that that is so. And I have the power to do so. And I have the influence to do so. I have the authority and the money to do so. That's racism. And show. I don't know why people, another monitor just handled this. Okay. I don't know why it blocked your comment, Sister Yvonne. Thank you. Racism became normal. Yeah, racism is now so normal. It is unseen. Racism is similar to alternative lifestyle. Alternative lifestyle is so normal it is not seen anymore. It is not seen as a problem. It is not seen as an issue. It is not seen. It is not. Some things have grown culturally that it is not seen. It is not observed anymore. I saw one of the most beautiful men when I first came to Detroit. I saw this man was a beautiful man. Please listen to the end of my statement. He was having his birthday party, and he was fully adorned in women's breasts and women's buttocks and women's hair, and in a beautiful full face of makeup, women's nails, and he looked Latino and Asian and black, little mix. That brother was beautiful. And I thought he was a very beautiful woman until he began to talk and his mannerism. I said, oh, okay. He has made the change. And, but nobody blinked an eye. He was seen as normal because certain things that move in the progressive direction of what is taking place in this world have become normalized. And racism is right up there with it. We have news stations that are dedicated to it. We have governors sitting in office, DeSantis, who are card-carrying racists. Now let me, and I see black people agreeing with him sometimes, and I'm like, you folks have lost your mind trying to agree with this man on any platform. And I'll give you an example of how black people agree with racists. And I'm going to explain the nuance of it. DeSantis apparently passed a law in Florida prohibiting men who identify as girls or boys who identify as girls from participating in girl sports. He stopped it. Okay? He stopped it. He said, no. Just if you're born a boy, you must participate in boy sports only. Even if you identify as a girl, if you're biologically born as a male, you can't do it. Now, I heard a black person said, who of well-renowned, said, I stand shoulder to shoulder with Governor DeSantis about this decision. Now, he said this in 2021. So just to give you, before we saw the true nature of this man. The problem when we stand shoulder to shoulder on a law made by a lawmaker, when we know that this individual is detrimental in other areas, is we now have bought into everything that he has brought to the table. Instead, you should say, the principle of boys participating in girl sports is something I disagree with. I don't assign that to DeSantis. I assign that to my own individual morality. I can't stand shoulder to shoulder with a devil, even though the devil is trying to align himself with me. The devil brought Jesus up to a high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of this world and said, I will give them all to you. Die on a cross for what? Why? Go into the grave for 3 days for what? I will give them all to you. All you have to do is worship me. The devil brought Jesus at the beginning of his ministry and says, what did you come here to do? You came here to be the savior of the world. Well, I can do that for you. I'm the God of this world. I'm the spirit of the air. I'll show you everything that's out here. And I'll say to you, it's yours. Do what you want with them. The only thing I need you to do is to worship me. The devil aligned himself with Jesus' agenda. The devil said, Jesus, I will give you everything that you want. All you have to do is stand shoulder to shoulder with me and worship me. And Jesus, we know what he told him. Kick rocks, Satan. I will worship the Lord thy God. Only will I worship. Listen, you can't stand shoulder to shoulder with devils, even if they're agreeing with you at the time. I have another example. A young maiden is following around Paul and saying, here are the servants of a God. Here are the servants of God. Hear them. Here are the servants of God. She had the spirit of divination. And what was she saying? The truth. Here are the servants of God. Here are the servants of God. And Paul looked at her one day and cast that demon out. And all of the men who made money off of her divination, they were upset. Why did Paul cast that demon out? Why did Paul not let that devil continue to say the truth? because he knew that when he left that place, if he did not cast the devil out of her, her affirming him in his absence would have created a power vacuum, allowing her to step in and to now take over in her devilish ideologies. So Paul had to put a stop to it, even though what she was saying aligned with him. You can never align with evil, even if evil is on your side for the moment. Deception is often a camouflage. Thank you, Miss Ann. And Afro-Asiatic racism is an institution. I think that's how you meant to say it. Racism is an institution. It's an evil institution. And one of the worst things that you can imagine is that some Black people actually got advantage from racism. Because the white people come to you. Do you know that some Blacks owned slaves too? Yes, we did. Black people in America owned slaves too. Black people in America owned Black slaves. Yes, they did. Some of these Blacks, they got freed, themselves enslaved Black people. That is standing shoulder to shoulder with evil, taking advantage of loopholes. That's how today Blacks who rise up in corporate America and say, "Oh, I don't see America as an evil country. It's I've pulled myself up by my bootstraps, and I've worked, and I've put my head to the plow, and I sent my kids to school, and we've made a great life for ourselves in this America. And I don't see racism in this country anymore. I don't see black and white. I don't see blue and red. I just see good old American green." Well, good for you. Good for you, Sambo. But the facts of the matter is that that's not everybody's experience, my friend. And so you cannot equate reality by your perspective. And I have to do the same. I have to do the exact same thing. I can't be so bogged down in what America or what colonization has done against me that I lose perspective of the great things that has been accomplished. It's hard sometimes, though. It's really hard, right? It's like your wife is cheating on you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, but she's making you a hell of a Sunday dinner. That Sunday dinner it tastes good. It's a great Sunday dinner. It's fantastic. You can sit down at the table and say your prayers and say, "Thank God for this good woman who's made me this food this Sunday morning. Lord, I give you the praise for her. Oh God, I thank you." And then you can wake up on Monday and say, "Woman," we have to be able to know the balance. We have to be able to know the balance. And Kathryn Wiley, going back to her, is a white woman who has taken it upon herself to sit down and to see the balance. To sit down and to see the balance. And let me hit you with this scripture, because this is what they should see as I get into my 43rd minute. I go from the scripture of Isaiah 61, very famous scripture. And I go to verse 5. I'll go to verse 4. Isaiah chapter 61. This is the job of a united America, black people and white people alike. And this is why black people, in my crescendo of what I'm about to say, need to acknowledge that this is why white people need to learn African history, black history. This is why the Shiloh Institute is trying to do something called the Scepter's Path, and taking white people, black people, Latino, Asian on a tour of black history, to do that level of education, to take white, black, Latino, Asian, brown to Israel, to Africa, and to give them these experiences for this reason. Let me read it to you. And they shall build the old wastes And they shall raise up the former desolations, and they shall repair the waste cities, the desolations of many generations. And strangers shall stand and feed your flocks, and the sons of the alien shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers. But ye shall be named the priests of the Lord. Men shall call you the ministers of our God. You shall eat the riches of the Gentiles, and in their glory shall you boast yourselves. For your shame, watch this, black man and black woman, you shall have double. For your shame, you should have double. And for your confusion, they shall rejoice in their portion. Therefore, in their land, they shall possess the double. Everlasting joy shall be unto them. I'll say it again. Everlasting joy shall be unto you. For I, the Lord, love judgment, and I hate robbery for burnt offering. And I will direct their work in truth, and I will make an everlasting covenant with them. And this is the last verse I'm going to read. And their seed shall be known among the Gentiles, and their offspring among the people. And all that see them shall acknowledge them, that they are the seed which the Lord has blessed. Come on. That they are the seed which the Lord has blessed. I'm telling you, black people, African American, you shall get double. For your shame you shall have double. Your portion shall be double. And your seed shall be known amongst the Gentiles, that this is the seed that the Lord has blessed. African American people need to say, I want to share my history with you. I want to show you what I've been through to get here. I want to show you how impregnable and how undefeated my people have been. I want to let you know that we are giant slayers, that we stood down the mouths of lions, that you couldn't eliminate us. You couldn't write us out of the history books. You couldn't poison us. You couldn't shackle us out of our liberty. That we are here. We've broken every chain. We've risen up through every oppressive tactic that your legal systems had to change, that your ideas and your prejudices had to get out of the way, because there was nothing that could stop us, because we are the seed that the Lord has blessed. Come on. We are that seed. You tried to crush us and you tried to step on us, and the harder and the deeper you pushed us down, the more roots took up, and you made the tree grow stronger, and you made the fruit taste sweeter, and you made the limbs be even longer. Come on, we are them. Let us show you we are them. And if you would have built a union with us, if you would have built this nation with us, nothing would have been able to defeat it. Oh my God, didn't you see Jesse go down there and show Hitler who the master race was? Come on. If you would have allowed us to truly be a partner in this thing, the great bomber Joe Louis wouldn't have been the only thing that was knocking things out. We would have a union unlike anything else. God would be in this nation. God would be in this nation. That's the reason. That's the reason you got to share your history. That's the reason you got to share who you are. That's the reason you got to share exactly what you've brought to the table. And this is the reason why you've got to amplify the voices of women like Kathryn Wiley. You've got to let people like that talk. You've got to invite them to conferences. You've got to share her work. You've got to say her name, because you've got to let people know who are on your side that we hear you, we see you, we thank you. Keep talking. Push her up front. Move her to the front of the class. Kathryn, you got something to say? Go ahead, Kathryn. I saw your article, Kathryn. Go ahead. What you got to say? Let Kathryn Wiley talk. Listen here. Give her the microphone. Put an amplifier next to her and let her talk. Let her be contagious amongst whites, Latinos. Let her be contagious in Capitol Hill, in the White House, in Congress. Let her become the new fad. Write songs about her. Come on, put her on a t-shirt and let your kid wear it to school. Well, we wild out here with Wiley. Come on. You need to say it. Kathryn Wiley, thank you. Thank you for saying what many should be saying. Thank you for not being afraid of the ridicule and making your face like flint, knowing that white people are going to look at you sideways and say, oh, she might be one of them, she might be one of them. Those ones, those whites that like the blacks, she might be one of them. Come on, let Kathryn Wiley be heard amongst you and know that you have allies that don't look like you. Don't come from where you come from. We are a great nation. Our history is history. But the future of what we're going to build together is going to be great. Thank you, Kathryn Wiley. Spell the lady name properly, though. I'm African Americans, First Nation, all disenfranchised. Yes, salute to you too, Satro. Listen, Kathryn Wiley is an example of what a great future can look like. It's what a great future can look like. And yes, black people have to be like, oh, I hate it when black people get so excited when white folk are just saying what they're supposed to say. That why are we giving this girl so much credibility for just being a good human being? We need to stop it. No, we need to acknowledge that this woman, under the scrutiny of a prejudiced historical context, is able to stand up and to put her shoulders back and say, hey, white kids need to learn black history, period. And stop acting like she is the many when she is the few. We need to put her up there and say, hey, thank you, Kathryn. You're an ally. We stand with you. You need to invite her to be part of your black organizations. Absolutely. You need to have her as an ambassador. You need more Kathryn Wileys. You need more Kathryn Wileys. Okay? So, and know this, there's a lot of Kathryn Wileys out there. They're out there. Find them. Locate them. Don't have your narrative be so polarizing that no one can come and shake your hand. This is why after the Kyrie Irving thing and jumping down Jonathan Greenblatt's throat and jumping down the throat of some of these Jewish individuals who are acting up, I sat back and said, okay, you know where I stand. Let me see where you stand. Who wants to shake hands? Who wants to have a conversation about building a better tomorrow, right? Because we have to, sometimes you got to check people and then give them an opportunity to say, okay, you're right. I went a little bit overboard there, Del. I went a little bit overboard, but how can we work together in the future? And I'll do the same. I'll do the same thing. I'll do absolutely the same thing, right? But you know where I stand. You know absolutely where I stand. I stand in a place where I believe together, black people, Christians, Jews, Muslims, all can build a better world, a better tomorrow, a better united front for true equality. It doesn't change my religious perspectives. I am a dogmatic Christian, period, right? But if I cannot look at my brother who is Islamic and look at my brother who is Jewish and even look at the secularist who is black and say, boy, we got a lot more in common than we have uncommon on this side of heaven, and we better work together, or we might see heaven more quicker than we want to, and our children might see it quicker than we want to. We've got to build something here that allows us to be able to say and stand and say we are a United States of America. And that's all I got for you today. God bless you. Read your Bible. That Bible will make you a genius. That's not my words. That's the late, great, I forget his name now. He died in the Caribbean. But the Bible will make you a genius. And it'll teach you about what's happening today, what's happening tomorrow, and how to make yesterday never happen again. All right? I love all of you. I appreciate you. Please bless the channel. If you can, bless the channel. If you have something for us, you can, again, PayPal, you can join, you can send the little financial blessings that you guys do. I really appreciate it. You guys do great things for me, and I appreciate it. Miles Monroe, thank you very much. Miles Monroe said, hey, the Bible will make you a genius. And he was right. He was absolutely right. I was a terrible speaker when I was young. I had what we called in Trinidad a tight tongue. It means when I talk, I let my tongue go past my teeth. And so I had a tight tongue. I used to talk like this. And I was very nervous about speaking. And when I got saved, God translated me into an individual. As he did with many people, he changed my capacity to express myself. He gave me instant recollection of things that I learned some time ago, and I was able to bring them back. He gave me the capacity to make relevant things from history and from current time, tie them together, and he created me as a symbol and as an embodied ambassador for his plan for this world. And I appreciate how he did it. And so I like to just put before you that God can use any of you. And if you think that it's not God using you, you're very mistaken. Satchel, bless you, brother. He says, keep up the good work, Brother Dell. We appreciate you. I appreciate you. At $5 go a long way, my brother. Okay, as I'm traveling through America here on my missionary tour, that's what I'm on. I'm on a missionary tour. IRS, I'm on a missionary tour. I'm visiting IRS, immigration. I'm a visitor. That's all I'm doing. I'm going on record. I'm a visitor. I'm a volunteer. Okay. I'm a Christian missionary, IRS, immigration, ICE. ICE, I want to let you know, I'm a missionary. That is me. I'm a Christian missionary. I ain't got no job in America. I'm a missionary. Okay? I'm gonna let you know that right now. That's what I'm doing. I'm a missionary. Period. Val Williams, I appreciate you very, very much. I appreciate the blessings. I'm heading out to Delaware under the auspices of Miss Mensa. Oh man, Miss Mensa told me, come out here to Delaware, Del, and just stay with me and my husband. We're going to Africa in a while, and you're just gonna just take care of the place for us, sit here, go to church, just look over the ground. She's allowed me to sit down and just be easy. I was in Detroit, and we're trying to get things organized to stay in Detroit, but a little bit of trouble, just a little bit. I hope we'll get back to Detroit because I really liked Detroit. Is close to Canada, and for my time here, I wanted to see my daughters. It's Father's Day coming. I wanted them to be able to visit me and stuff like that. So I was hoping to be in Detroit for Father's Day. If not, figure something else out. So I just appreciate the hospitality. I'm here in Maryland again. Hospitality by a friend of mine in Maryland, and hanging out in Maryland. Somebody put me up out here in Maryland for a little while, and I just appreciate the hospitality. I forgot how many friends I have out here in America. It was like, what? You here? Man, come over here. Come over here. Stay out here. And they, they gave me a place to do the videos, and they show me the city. And, so I thank you for all of the support that I've been getting from everybody. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. I'm coming back. All right. So next time you're going to hear me, today's Friday. Next time, is it Friday? Today's Friday, right? Next time you're going to hear me, I'm be in Delaware. Okay. So God bless you. Father, even now, the hand of God extended towards these who come here to listen, to hear, God, what you have dropped into my heart for them. I pray that you would expand them, multiply your power even on their lives. I pray that you would move with increase, hover over their homes, over their families, hover over their businesses, over their jobs. I declare divine promotion. Oh God, move in their lives, speak to their children, give them understanding beyond their years, speak to their husbands and their wives. Father, speak to their congregations and speak to those that support them. Give them favor. Go before them, God, even 1,000 times so many more. I pray, God, a blessing on their life. As they pour into me, God, pour into them. Father, rainstorms of blessings. Open up the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing that they will not have room to receive by the very power of God, the same God of Abraham who did it, the same God of Isaac and Jacob. God, look upon your people and see that they cry out for you. Bless them indeed. In the name of Jesus Christ, we ask it to be so now. And let the church say amen. Miss Ann, God is the reason for life, and let's live and not die in vain. I thank you all very, very much. Thank you all for that blessing and for what you've given there. $10 for Miss Ann. I thank you guys very much. It's an hour. I'm going to get out of your way. You guys go ahead and have a great rest of your day. Del K. Burton, this is The Real Spiel. LMS Shallow, stand up. and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.